Hello, hybrid seniors in Mr. Marks's college prep English class, block one. This is covering all work for August the 24th, Tuesday. Anyway, so sorry for my absence. I will see you guys, I believe, on, when am I seeing you? Thursday? Check the calendar. Should be, should be Thursday. So we will meet in class on Thursday. Watch this video. Okay, so we didn't finish our lecture on whenever I saw you last. I think I was talking about Hemingway describing this old man who had lost a step, and in his hubris, his excessive human pride, he decided to go out and catch this giant fish, and does, and he feels something not unlike ecstasy that pinnacled human elation. I got her number, I won the race, I beat the bully. He has his proof, his trophy. In catching this gigantic marlin, he's going to prove his worth, even though he's in his late 70s, and in truth knows that he's lost his step. And we as readers kind of pity him for that, but we're so joyous when he catches the fish, and he lashes it to the side of the boat, and then, of course, the sharks come. I think we talked about that. And Hemingway writes this line. He says, he hit the shark without hope, but with resolution and complete malignancy. Right? Hemingway, An Old Man in the Sea. And I read this when I was 16, and it completely blew my mind. He leans over the side of the boat with a billy club, and he goes to knock a shark on the noodle, and he does it knowing that he's not going to succeed, but he's resolute to complete the task, and he's full of hatred. And really, it just blew my mind on a whole bunch of levels, because we can feel two things at one time. That's just one defining characteristic of humanity. We can both love our mom and sometimes not love her at the very same time, right? And then also the whole human condition thing of just desperately wanting to prove ourselves at times. And of course, the human condition of being an old man and not being quite as fit and able and capable and influential and handsome and virile and all these things. So I think this is when I started really heavily contemplating English. I digress. Okay, so this moved into a bunch of other things, which we really don't have a ton of time for today, except that I got to ask, have you ever gone to ask her out or him out? Have you ever walked onto a field? Have you ever stood up to a bully in your clairvoyant forethought of your mind, knew ahead of time that you weren't going to succeed, but you did it anyway? Think about that. I think probably your answer is yes, of course, because you all are human, and this is what we read in literature, right? We talked a little bit about our influence in writing and how we can't change people's minds with our fists or with weapons of mass destruction, but we can change people's minds with how well we communicate in writing. And how well we do depends, I should say, what is it? The length of our reach of influence is dependent upon how well we write, so consider that. Okay, anyway, so for today, we are doing some things. You're going to go over here to modules, and if you haven't completed the policy statement, have your folks sign that and turn it in for 10 points. Then I want you to grab Funny in Farsi, this PDF, and drop that into Notability. We'll be reading chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4, quiz on 3 and 4 next class period Thursday. And then we're going to be taking some notes and submitting them here today to Quick Writes, 6-word memoirs, and tweets. Tweet, singular. Tweet. Tweet-elite. All right, so here we go. This class begins with this introduction on personal narrative writing because, again, we're writing to our colleges. We differentiate two different types of writing, expressive and reflective. Neither one of them by themselves are wrong. Look at expressive writing over here, right? It's personal writing. It shares thoughts, ideas, feelings, and questions about experiences. It's from the first person point of view, exhibits your voice, tells me how you're feeling. Very good. But look at number 2 on reflective writing right here. Reflective writing moves beyond just a simple recounting of an experience, and it goes into an exploration of how that experience has shaped you, the writer. You're taking notes, by the way. You're copying these slides. Reflective writing explores and discovers new thoughts and feelings. It looks at the past as a means for looking at the future. So I'll just give you a little hint here. Nah, screw it. I'm just going to tell you the whole thing. Good writing is both expressive and reflective, right? Recount an incredible experience and then tell me how it changed you. Blingo blambo. That's it. All right? So the first exercise of the entire school year 21-22 is you writing 6-word memoirs. What did he say? That's right. You're going to be writing only 6-word narratives. Memoirs about specific instances in your lives. Within these 6 words, you should both express and reflect upon an instance in your life. Focus on a specific aspect of a personal experience, just a part, not the entire life. That would be pretty difficult for us now, not later. These memoirs should be something meaningful about your life and only your life. They can be about your past, present, or future, but ideally it's about all 3. So let's just kind of jump ship over here, click on pages, and I'm going to give you some examples. So it starts off with, give me a word or phrase that that you can use to identify a meaningful moment in your life. So for me, I would say making the high school baseball team. That was pretty significant. Know this. These are just us getting our ideas down. We haven't written our 6-word memoirs. I fell in the pool one time when I was about 4 before I could swim. Maybe I was 3 or 4. I can't remember. But I remember I was wearing a cowboy outfit. And I remember my father, I tripped over the hose he was using to water something. He would not extend a hand to come get me. He was using it, of course, for a teaching method. But I remember just that feeling of being lost for a moment, begging him to come get me, and him just asking me or yelling, move your arms, and it was pretty significant. I'll never forget it. When you think about our parents, their job is to help us understand God and the world around us, right? So very, very significant moment in my life. I'll use a Jamaican phrase, meeting the Empress. The Empress, right? That's pretty darn significant, right? When I decided to leave teaching back in 18, and now I'm back again, but that was rather significant. Another instance would be when I was rejected in Vegas. I tried out for The Voice several years ago, and that was pretty darn significant on a number of levels. So anyway, if I was to think about 6 words for rejected in Vegas, that one moment where they just told me like, hey, yeah, you're fine, but you're just not good enough. It was the first time I'd really kind of heard that, said like that, something that I'd pursued for a long time, and it really had a significant impact on my life. I would say 6 words. I never thought I wasn't good, right? I never thought I wasn't good. This is an example of a 6-word memoir that is, typical grammar. Making the high school baseball team, I might say something like new victorious territory. That was a game changer for me. My father's joy. I don't mean to beat up my dad right now, but essentially making the baseball team was wonderful, but I realized after the fact that it was kind of more for him. So, your memoirs do not have to be grammatically correct. This is very meta, but they do need to be 6 words. And to complicate things, where did it go? I think you were over here. They need to be reflective. No cliche, right? No cliche. Life is great. Everything feels good. Whatever, it needs to really sort of amplify whatever scenario in your life you're going to decide to write a 6-word memoir about. So here's some other examples. Summer, sunflowers, breeze sometimes, and us. So I'd say a good rule of thumb is whatever you write down, if it's going to cause someone to ask questions, you want to know who's that us, who's that some, what was that instance, then you're probably on the right path. And still, I will choose love. What happened to make me say that? I just cannot write in margins. You can't actually outrun the rain. I want to know about that instance. That's a good one. I sit in silence. It's wonderful. I want to know what got me there. So pause the video, and I want you to give me a list of as many just individual instances. That's the 1 through 5 that I did earlier here. And then after you give me specific, impactful moments in your life, you're going to write 6-word memoirs that would help retell that experience. I hear some more of mine if you want to pause there. Pause the video. All right, and we're back. Okie dokie, hokey pokey. So we're going to go and take those 6-word memoirs, and we're going to turn them now, same paper, into a personal narrative tweet. A personal narrative tweet. So you have to track your characters, not your spaces. So it's 280 letters. It requires a focus. So pick one of the ones that you like the best and communicate a complete idea, no threads, in just this one tweet. So I'm going to jump ship from my notes here for a moment, go back to pages. The whole being rejected, never thinking that I wasn't good, really blew my mind, as arrogant as perhaps that is, but I just never thought I wasn't good, and it changed my life. So if I was to kind of give a tweet, and I would say, I never thought I wasn't good. Years of a singular focus, the time spent now questioning. Notice that grammar doesn't have to be on point. A singular idea, waste, like time, was a calling missed. Do I hang on and create? Resource and time, that focus on time, a most precious commodity. How fragile an ego, how practice and time, again, albums and shows, a reason to continue, all toppled by the remarks of an unknown few. Time is a healer. There you go. So there you go. I actually did this earlier, and this is exactly 280 characters, and I want you to do the same thing. So pause, pick your best 6-word memoir, and scaffold it, blow it up, expand on the idea, and write a 280 character, not counting space, tweet, and you will then upload that to this assignment here in modules. Quick writes, 6-word memoirs, and tweet. You at home kids, since you have some time, you'll download Funny in Farsi, read chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. Be prepared to discuss it and quiz, I believe on Thursday when I see you again. What are some things to focus on in her writing? The human condition. Look at her father's kind of engineering singular focus. Look at how they've kind of rose-tinted glasses had themselves influenced to look at America as a certain way. Look at all of her humor as a 7-year-old kid. Look at how aware she was. Look at the objectification of the Iranian women and her mom, and why they didn't usually have an education. Look at the relationship between their parents, and look at how well she writes. She does this thematic thing where she personifies death at a certain point in chapter 1, where a mom in her youth was pursuing work in midwifery, and it says something about that dream dying along with her teacher, right? So these are all things to take a look at, grasp that, look at her writing and craft, and until we meet again, my friends, you know your tasks.